Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown, and today we welcome back Jah'Nyah Spencer of the Lynn Museum to discuss Final Fridays. Thanks so much for coming back on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Danny. I'm so excited to be here.
I know, I can tell. I said I'm really excited to hear all about this. And now Final Fridays has been around for about 6 years now, and I've gone to some the last couple of years and they've been amazing. But each year you focus on different community needs. I know that's a big part of the theme. So what community needs were you discussing this year?
That's a really interesting question. So when Final Fridays originated back in 2020, when they decided to start the program in 2020 during the pandemic, one of the big community needs that they wanted to focus on was connection. You know, because at the time, like, we were all social distancing, we weren't really going out as much, and being able to have like community members come and like still like be able to shop, then connect in a way that felt safe was a really big impact that was made at the time. But that was back in 2020, right?
Right, yeah.
And when I got hired on in 2023, at the beginning of 2023, I think we were still kind of like focusing on like just like bridging that gap after COVID. And then after doing that for another year in 2024, after having a lot of conversations with a lot of different stakeholders, a lot of different community members, a lot of different artists like myself, one big conversation that kept coming up was we don't know how to target BIPOC youth. We don't know how to market events to them. We don't know how to cater to them.
Right.
And that was a big conversation that I kept having with a lot of different people that typically run, you know, like vending markets, festivals, that kind of thing. And I was like, well, I don't think it's that hard. I mean, at least I didn't think so. But I was coming from a different perspective, right? Because, you know, I'm also a young artist. I'm a Black woman as well, and I'm going to school. And I was like, well, with a lot of the other artists and creators that I get to connect with, I think that this is a great opportunity for me to restructure Final Fridays to meet that need, right?
Yep.
Because a conversation that I've had with so many young artists and creators that look like me, it's always one of two things. It's always they feel like there's not events here in Lynn that are catered to them specifically, or they feel like they don't have what it takes to put their artistry out there, or they feel like they have to put in more work on the sidelines or in private before they can show off who they are.
Yeah.
And I can understand, you know, wanting to take time on your craft and wanting to take time before you put yourself out there. But if you're not willing to connect, if you're not willing to go to events, if you're not willing to show your skills off, no one's going to know who you are.
Right.
And no one's going to want to book you. No one's going to work with you because they just don't know who you are. Right? And I think being able to take Final Fridays to focus on that is very important. But even within just focusing more on like the 16 to 25 BIPOC youth demographic in the arts, I also think having each year of Final Fridays having a different theme of what we want people engaging with the program to focus on is also important because, you know, things are always changing, right? We're always changing as people and we're always experiencing new things. And when you experience new things, like you start to look at things differently, you start to show up differently, right? And I think being able to have people come in and have a specific thing in mind, like whether that's like new beginnings, what new things do you want to try? That's what we did last year. Like, what new people do you want to meet? Like, what's something new you want to try? You know, something like that.
Yeah. And this year it's Step Into Your Power. That's the theme you chose, which I love that. I absolutely love that. And so what led you to the decision to choose that? And then also, what does that really mean to you when you were thinking about it?
That's a good question. So when I was coming up for the theme for this year, like I said, I'm also an artist as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like my artistry and where I'm coming from plays a really big part in how I want others to engage with the space. So for me, you know, with being a full-time college student, also being a professional artist, also trying to have a social life, also trying to be someone's child, someone's sister, someone's friend, I spent a lot of time always thinking about the external things, right? Always thinking about how can I show up for this better? How can I be better for this? But never always thinking about how can I be better for myself? How can I be better in my artistry? How can I step into my power, right? And I think being able to have that conversation with myself on how I want to show up better for myself is also a great segue to have other creatives do the same thing, right? Because like I was saying before, we all have this spark. We all have this thing within us that's very special, right? But it's really easy to shrink, and it's really easy to forget, and it's really easy to get distracted by all these external things, right? That make us forget who we are. And I just think it's really important to step into your power. And I think it's really important to remember who you are, you know? But that's why I decided that theme. I was like, I feel like with where everything's going, and I feel like just with a lot of like changes just in the world, like now is a time that we have to be very clear on like who we are, what we want, and not waver for anyone or anything.
I know, and that's even what you were saying to me before we came on, you know, not listening as much to others. You know, if this is something that you want to do that you know is right for yourself, you know, go for it, do it. You know, really embrace the fact that you are powerful, that you are important, that your art is amazing, and don't listen to all the noise around you that can be so easy to make you think, oh, well, I'm not that important. I'm just small.
Exactly. You have to turn all the noise off. You have to. It's so important.
And that's part of what these events do. They sort of turn off the noise, turn on the focus in Frederick Douglass Park, which is an awesome venue, first of all, because you have the stage, you have the area where vendors can work, so it's a good combo. And this year, so you're bringing back some of the same themes like Graffiti Get Down, the Fashion Week. How did you both use the themes that people clearly loved last year, but also mix in some new material or some new engagement?
Yes, that's a great question. I think one of the best things about having a series that focuses on different forms of art is really cool, because there's always going to be different people that either got to witness it last year or got to hear about it from after, and they're like, damn, I wish I could have been a part of that. And it's like, but don't worry, when next year rolls around, there's going to be an opportunity for you to come back, right?
Yeah, there you go.
And also too, like, even like kind of what I was saying, like with changing like the overall theme for the program every year, from going from new beginnings or to step into your power, having these different themes while maintaining the same events allows for this flow of expressing yourself in a different way and stepping into the space in a different way. Like with Spoken Soul, for example, the first one that we're doing on May 30th. That one is really great because it's just a big excuse to just like pour your heart out on stage. It's a great excuse to just be vulnerable. It's a great excuse to just show who you are unapologetically, right? And like I said, with last year, New Beginnings, like a lot of our performers, they focus most of their sets on like stepping into this new space within themselves. Where it's like, show me your skill. Show off, brag. I love to brag. You know, but it's nice to just have like that space where you could just, like I said, unapologetically just be yourself and just do what you're good at and show that off. Like that's really, really dope. And the way how that can translate to other events like, you know, Fashion Week or Graffiti Get Down or even the dance battle, it's great seeing how these different themes click things in someone, you know?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of art, is you really never know what you're going to see. You never see the same thing twice. It's always different, which I feel like is more engaging. It's so exciting to see what are they going to come up with? What are they going to show? You know, what elements of themselves are they really going to show off to people, which is incredibly brave and confident, I will say that. Yeah,
because it's an energy. Yeah. It's an energy, and I think that's the really cool thing about Final Fridays too, is that when I'm putting the show together and I'm putting together, you know, the schedule and stuff, I care a lot about the energy that it's going to give off. You know, not just for the audience, but also like what the performers or anyone that we're paying that's coming is going to get out of it. You know, like I want people to leave being like, wow, I just had a great time. Yeah. Or like, wow, I just learned something new about myself. Or like, wow, like I'm really passionate about this. Or wow, I just had a great conversation. Like I want you to leave feeling like this. I want you to leave feeling aligned. Yeah. You know, which is, I think that's really, really important when it comes to event planning, because you could just throw stuff together and be like, oh, we'll just bring this person to come perform, or we'll just do this, or we'll just do that. It's like, no, this is a curated experience. Like, and when you have an experience, you want people to leave with something valuable. Like, that's very, very, very important to me.
Which you definitely do, and you can tell in the passion and all the work that you do, because it's not just the performers. You can also have people sign up as vendors, volunteers. There's other ways to get involved too.
Or designers, or live artists. There's so many different things, or dancers, like, and I think that's a great thing about it too, is that like it's not just one type of art, it's like all these different forms.
No, you could have 50 different kinds of art and just see what people bring to it.
Exactly.
No, and I do have to ask a few of the little like nitty-gritty questions of, you know, the when and where of it, and what's the deadline for anyone to sign up? Like, let's say you want to be a vendor, volunteer, perform. What are those deadlines?
So Final Fridays will be happening at Frederick Douglass Park all throughout the summer. Our dates for the program are May 30th, June 27th, July 25th, and August 29th. And like I said, each event will be celebrating a different form of art. So first one we have coming up is Spoken Soul. Our next one is Fashion Week, Graffiti Get Down, Rhythm Royale. All just really dope, amazing events. What else did you want me to say?
Just, is there a deadline for if you want to sign up to be vendor, performer, fill in the blank?
So if you would like to be a vendor or a volunteer, we will be accepting applications on a rolling basis. If you check out the Lynn Museum Instagram page or my personal Instagram page, you'll be able to find the applications. Like I said, we're accepting applications on a rolling basis, but we typically ask people to get their applications for a specific event at least 10 days before the event. Because things are always changing and stuff.
Of course.
And we also really just want to give an opportunity for anyone to just come. Like we don't, like even with vendors, like we don't charge vendor fees. We want to make this as accessible as possible, which is really important.
It is. No, you just switch into business mode right there. After the details, you went, I got this.
Gotta.
You did. You went, I got it. It's just gonna come.
Yeah, it's that quick. Yeah.
And I know we could probably talk about this all day, but I do have to wrap up in a moment. But was there anything else I hadn't mentioned that you wanted to discuss for this event?
That's a great question. So like Danny and I were talking about, the theme for Final Fridays this year is Step Into Your Power. Now with that being said, whether you're a performer, a vendor, volunteer, or just someone looking to have a good time, I really want you to take the time to explore what stepping into your power means to you, how you want to show up not just as an audience member, but maybe as a creative, as a family member, as a person. What does that really mean to you, and how can you better show up for yourself?
All right. Well, there's literally nothing I can do to possibly top that. You just nailed it. But thank you so much for coming on, talking about this. It's always a pleasure.
It is always a pleasure. I'm so happy to be back.
Always happy to have you back. And come check out Final Fridays this summer. I'm Danny Vittori. This has been Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests.